Welcome back to Port Elizabeth, the beautiful city. This is part 34, and we resume a walk I did in November 2014 at the Provincial Hospital in Buckingham Road, parallel to Cape Road. So I wanted to find out when this Provincial Hospital was built. The original little hospital in PE dates back to 1856. Then there was one built, as we mentioned earlier, in Richmond Hill. But this one was built in 1915, and I was able to find that out in a book that I produced a year or two ago to mark the 200th anniversary of Port Elizabeth. There it stands. Quite proud of this. It took a lot of work, and so it's a coffee table book available from the GFI Gallery in Park Drive, Port Elizabeth. So here we're looking at the Provincial Hospital. I was unable to get too close to it because security guards wouldn't allow me in for some reason. But so 1915, that probably was all it comprised originally. And then they would have added stuff as the century progressed. It's still operating, though I don't know how well. Initially, before private hospitals, this was the go-to hospital in the early Port Elizabeth, and I went there as late as the mid to late 80s. I actually took someone there who needed treatment urgently just to their casualty department. And it was all looking spick and span, but I gather problems have arisen at all these state hospitals. So looking along Buckingham Road, there's some fine houses. That's just a view. I think this is a bloodtrons, I don't know, testing some sort of medical facility. Just to give you a sense of what the houses are like, all stuck behind walls, unfortunately. The litter. Okay, so here was a nice thing, Richley House. It's a nice little feature. And let's see here, it says the row of terraced houses was built by James Wills in 1906, became a nursing and maternity home in 1928, was a brothel during World War II, and became Langford Lodge boarding house after the war. Now it's a pub. So it is a nice pub. Great building to have a pub in. The setting isn't great on a busy road like Cape Road. But wonderful piece of architecture, really. At this stage, it was called the Boar's Head. I'd love to have. So, did we discover when it was built? 1906. So even older than the hospital, which would just be across one block on the right as you look at this. So the steeper the angle, the more impressive it looks there. So Cape Road used to be fine houses all the way up, but most of them have now been converted to businesses. Happily, quite a few of them have retained their original character. So I did this long walk up Cape Road. We can just take a squiz at some of the buildings. Yeah, the colour isn't always perfect, but a couple of gems in between. College Avenue. Look down that and you'll see the entrance to Grey High School, which was built in 1915, I think. Yeah, so that's the entrance to the Grey down the bottom there. Oh, so we've come back down Cape Road with Richley House now on the right, across the road. So yeah, now we're in Northwood Road behind the hospital. And so we're going to see the back of the hospital, which I think I recall was quite derelict. So it's a huge complex. It's a whole city block of buildings. It looks almost like a crematorium or something. It says here Central Community Health, PE Central Community Health Centre, whatever. Eastbourne Road. Northwood Children's Hospice. Look at this big block here. I think this might have been accommodation for nurses or something, but it was just looking like derelict. So this could be like a prime piece of block of flats. Now I drove to a small park between Bayview Avenue and Barker Road. Look at all those dishes on top there, just detracting badly from the gables. So yeah, this is the Old Grey Kemsley Park and the Old Grey Sports Club are next to each other. And here's a monument to the so-called concentration camp from the Anglo-Boer War. And it was apparently a model camp with few lives lost. It's been a lot of hype around these camps, and a lot of the truth has been lost regarding them. Excuse me. Such as, what do you do when you've got a guerrilla war going and people are just left in the veldt? Anyway, it's not an issue that I'll get into here, but this plaque, let's see if we're closer up here. It's only in Afrikaans, just talks about the camp here. And that's the old grey cricket ground where a game was underway. I'd say the monument is rather harsh. I mean, okay, so maybe concentration camps were harsh too, but look at that. It's just quite brutal. And the setting is also equally brutal, but this is probably where the camp was, on these fields here, where these fields now are. But cricket will be played. Then I walked along further up the road, and there was a Jewish complex on the right. This place. And the Eastern Province Children's Home. Quite a historic building, this too. And a mystery monument in an open patch next door, across the road. I'm heading towards Cunningham Road, and that's SABC in the distance. No idea what this plaque, what this monument's meant to denote. There we go, EP Children's Home, lovely gable, 1908. So this is Albany. And St. Patrick's Road, the one I walked along down there. And this is where the fire station is, the old fire station. Newington is up here somewhere. This is Zariba, Newington. Yeah, and then the hospital is further this way. Oh, here we go, Cape Road. And there's cricket grounds. We were at the hospital complex. So, Richley House, I think, will be here. Yeah. So we'll get into nature next with Settlers Park and Cape Recife. But for now, we'll just leave it at that.